Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Nick, and today I'm going to be breaking down the All Big Ten honors for the 25-26 men's basketball season. Here we go. Starting off with Player of the Year, Yaxel Lendeborg, which was apparently, I believe, unanimous. It was either he was unanimous Player of the Year or unanimous All Big Ten. I want to say it was actually unanimous All Big Ten, but nonetheless, this does confuse me a little bit. Obviously, I know how good Michigan's been this year and the impact that he makes on the team, but let's just look at this stat line. Yes, these are all very good stats, and he's a highly efficient player, but when you stack them up to, say, Keaton Wagler, who's also first team, Jeremy Fears, who's also first team, Bennett Sturts, who's also first team. Like, I think these guys statistically kind of blow him out of the water. Keaton Wagler, for example, he's looking great. Bennett Sturts, 20 points a game. He literally carries the fuck out of their team. Keaton Wagler does the same. Yaxel is just like lower on points a game than I thought he would be, and assists too for where he's being placed. Like, he's not even close to best scorer in the league, probably not even a top 10 scorer in the league. His rebounding is good for his size, obviously. And, 3.2 assists a game isn't nothing. I think this is probably worth second team all honors. I'm not sure where the extraordinary amount of support comes for him, but, obviously he's a great player. I'm not going to knock him, but Big Ten Player of the Year is kind of shocking to me. I would like to see that go to a Keaton Wagler or, I mean, Bruce Thornton's probably more deserving of this. Maybe even, listen, I'm a Badger fan, of course, but Nick Boyd, what an incredible season. As we will talk about in a minute, he's on second team. Very deserving of this. And then we got a player like Braden Smith who won it last year, and all he did was improve on every single stat line. So just a little bit questionable for me as to why Yaxel Lendeborg ended up as Big Ten Player of the Year. Um, but I do think he's probably deserving of first team. Um, I could, I would argue maybe second team just off of biases, but Yaxel is the best player in the Big Ten. That's a big question mark for me. Adai Mara of Michigan is the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. Let's take a look at the season stats and see why. Um, this may not tell the whole story, but let's take a look here. Defensively, 2.6 blocks a game is just outrageous. Not to mention his length in the paint. I mean, this dude is like 7'5" and plays a key part in Michigan's defense. Like, this guy's wingspan has won the Wolverines many games this season on the defensive end. He's an all-around great player. Still working on his offensive game, but when you're that tall, I mean, geez, that's tough. But yeah, he just swallows up the paint. I know the Badgers were one of the only two teams that actually took advantage of Mara this season and challenged him. Um, the way you're going to be able to attack Mara is if you extend him out of the paint. That's going to bode well for your guards driving and open up the lane for you. But if he can kind of live comfortably on the defensive end in the paint, Daimara is going to be an absolute game wrecker. So he's got 2.6 blocks per game, zero point 0.3 steals per game. That doesn't necessarily tell the whole story, but the 2.6 blocks for me is something that stands out as holy crap, um, big defensive impact, and I think he's probably very deserving of this award. Freshman of the year in the Big Ten Conference, of course, no question, is going to Keaton Wagler of Illinois. He dropped like 40 something points on the road at Mackey Arena earlier in the season. That was kind of his like I'm here coming out party. Obviously, he had great games leading up to that. But yeah, let's just take a look at this. Where's that Purdue game? At Purdue, like 39 points. Wait, that's minutes. Where's the points? 46 points. Holy crap. Yeah, that was his coming out party for sure. Without Kylan Boswell, he probably got injured, in this stretch here. And then Keaton just got to run the show. He follows it up by 22, 28, 34 again. Um, Keaton's a great player. He's probably going to be a one and done guy, which as a Badger fan, I'm fine with. But all the respect in the world to Keaton Wagler. I think he gets dragged a little bit for being undersized and not as physical, but I think his offensive skill set kind of outweighs that. And in a very, um, I guess a lot of people would call the Big Ten a physical league, but right now, I mean, you just saw the Badgers win 97-93 on the road at Mackey the other day. Like, physicality aside, like, this is a scoring league right now. We are picking it up. Compared to the SEC and Big 12, I think, we got to be right up there this year. So and that's in part due to Keaton Wagler's incredible play. I can't even think of another freshman who would be even considered to be up there in the ranks with Keaton Wagler. So extremely deserved. 17.9 points a game, 4.9 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and 44% from the field. So very good. Congratulations to Keaton Wagler. Sixth man of the year, Braden Frager, or is it Frager? I'm gonna guess Frager from Nebraska. Sixth man of the year. I don't know a single thing about Braden other than 11.7 points coming off the bench is not too shabby, especially when he's helping you on the boards a little bit too. I think, this is probably um, an award that could have gone to a handful of guys, but my guess is that Braden has been their sixth man like every game this season, first off the bench, where depending on the team, you might, or injuries, you might have a different guy coming off the bench first every night. So I'm guessing Braden excelled in his role as first off the bench and filled a lot of holes with his length. And holy cow, he's a freshman too. So we were talking about freshmen with Keaton Wagler. Couldn't really think of any. And here we go, Braden Frager. Great season, 11.7 points, 3.9 boards, just shy of an assist, and 49% from the field on a very good Nebraska team that beat the brakes off the Badgers earlier this year. I would like to see a rematch of that game, but I'm also scared of their um, offensive volatility. And I think, you know, just like everybody else this time of year, maybe not everybody else, but as a Big Ten fan, I'm excited to see what Nebraska can do in the tournament, and I hope that they can get their first win. Also, quick shout out to Henry Burt for having a kind of hilarious name. Coach of the Year, Fred Hoiberg, the former Iowa State head coach, moves to Nebraska a few seasons ago, and he's really got Nebraska back on track. Um, Players like Rank Mast and his son Sam Hoiberg are a big reason why this team is uh, going places. Uh, very happy for Fred. I think he's deserving of this. Although there is plenty of good coaches in the league, I think this league has an extraordinary amount of coaches uh, that are very good at their jobs. But Fred turning this Nebraska program around and making them, a top 10 team is incredible, especially with um, NIL being such a big thing these days. The Kentuckys, the Dukes getting all the best players. They got all the money in the world to spend. But these smaller programs like Nebraska or Wisconsin that have a good amount of money and resources still, but not as much as the upper echelon college basketball programs. It just speaks to how well he coaches his team and the culture that he has implemented in Nebraska. And I'm happy that he's being rewarded and recognized as Coach of the Year because this Nebraska program has never looked this good. Moving straight to the Howard Moore Assistant Coach of the Year. If you don't know who Howard Moore is, he's a former Badger assistant coach. Ended up this isn't his whole story, but he was in a car crash a few years back, and um, things have not been the same for him. We'll say it. We'll leave it there. But Howard's a tremendous guy, and it speaks volumes on Howard as to why he is, uh, you know, the award is named after Howard. So Sharif Chambliss is actually the assistant coach of the year. I was at the Badger Maryland game about a week ago, and players are coming off the floor senior night and smiling and dapping up people. And I got to see it firsthand on the big screen. Everyone, uh, the big warm embrace that Sharif would give his players as they exited the floor. You could tell how much he cared and the connection and relationship that he built with all the seniors, and that extends to the rest of the team. So congratulations to Sharif. He definitely deserves this award. All right, we've wasted enough time on the individual awards. Now, what I'm most excited for is first, second, and third team honors. We'll start with Keaton Wagler. I don't know if this is like a first, second, third, like how this is ranked. Did Keaton get all of them or the most amount of votes, and that's why he's first? I'm pretty sure it's just because he's a point guard. But then you got Jeremy Fears down at point guard here too, so I don't know. Anyway, Keaton Wagler, we'll look back at his stats. Very deserving player. I think it was 17-9 a game. Keaton, where are you? There you are. 17-9 a game. Very good. You know, don't need to speak on him much anymore. He's definitely deserving of being here. Next is Yaxel Lindeborg. We already talked at extent about him. I think, it's fair to have him on here, but I would have been okay with them being second team as well. Jeremy Fears, let's get that little demon out here. I had a lot of fun watching the Badgers beat MSU a couple weeks ago. But 9.1 assists. He's up there with Magic Johnson damn near for most assists all time in MSU history. I think that's just insane. Clearly, this guy can get in the lane and spray it out to his shooters, even though there's not many shooters on the team. But that almost just speaks more volumes about, he's getting 9.1 assists a game with a team that can't shoot very well. You got Cohen Carr out there. You got a couple freshmen trying to spray it. And then you got Cooper and Kohler, who've transformed into semi decent shooters, but these aren't knockdown shooters. You got like Price Sanford or um, or John Blackwell. So props to Jeremy Fears. I think he's deserving of first team. Absolutely. 15 points a game, 2.4 rebounds, 9 assists. Like, I have no idea where the Spartans would be without Jeremy Fears. Speaking of Price Sanford, here he is somehow sneaking in to first team All Big Ten. I had no idea his stat line was this good, but I would have to say there's probably a handful of players that I would have considered over him for a first team, um, including players like Braden Smith, Bruce Thornton, Nick Boyd, to name a few. But we're not going to take anything away from Price. He's earned it. And this is voted on by the coaches, so they know a lot more than I do. Let's take a look at his stats just to know a little bit more about him. 40% three-point shooter. Very good stat. That's kind of a Sanford thing. His brother or brothers, Peyton, played on Iowa. He was a great shooter. But yeah, just surprised to see Price Sanford. I would have guessed that Rank Mast would have been above him for the Big Ten honors, but here he is, 18 points a game, and showing up on the glass, and just all around great scorer. I can't knock him for being on this list, although I could see players like Sturts above him, Martinelli above. Like, I think everybody on second team minus Wilkerson, I would have had projected above Price Sanford, and I don't want to say deserve it more than he does because Nebraska's having a hell of a season, and so is Price. But Just a little surprised to see Price Sanford sitting there on first team. Like a white dude from Nebraska. That's a little surprising to me, especially when you got players like Martinelli behind him who have been carrying Northwestern. Look at this 22.7 versus 17.9, 4.9, 6.2. Like, what did Martinelli do to get left off of first team versus Sanford? If I had to guess, it's just because Northwestern kind of stinks and Nebraska's having a Cinderella-esque Big Ten season, if you will. Um, but congratulations to Price. He's a baller. Let's take a look. Braden Smith sneaks in. Um, Purdue's been falling as of late, but there's no question that Braden Smith has dominated the Big Ten in the past 4 years. 6 foot 170, and he's putting up these kind of numbers, and he's been doing it at a high level for this amount of time. Give the man his flowers. Purdue hasn't been great as of late. That doesn't matter. It's on the season, and Braden definitely deserves to be first team All Big Ten. I mean, 3.6 boards even. Like, this dude is tiny compared to these players out here, and he's a baller. He's put in the work, um, and he's definitely deserving of it. Down to second team, Lamar Wilkerson. I am not too up to date on Lamar Wilkerson. I know he's Indiana guard, but let's take a look and see what everything is about. 21 a game, 3.5 boards, 2.4 assists. Why not? I mean, those are great numbers. I can see why he'd be a second team All Big Ten player. And that brings me back to poor Price. How did he get first team honors over players like Lamar, Nick, Nick again? Like, what you doing, Big Ten? You guys know better than me, but yeah, we'll just look at Lamar one more time. His field goal percentage, he's good free throw, a great free throw shooter, a very good 3-point shooter, and yeah, I don't know where Indiana would be without Lamar Wilkerson this year. Um, I hate Indiana, and I'm hoping that they get left out of the NCAA tournament because there's no way that Indiana deserves to be in versus a lower mid conference team that has had an incredible year. And they just didn't have the opportunities. Meanwhile, Indiana's like 2-10 against quad one. They lose like 6 of their last 8. Like, this team does not deserve to get in. Um, and don't even get me started on Auburn. If Auburn's in, it's fucking stupid. They've lost like 9 of 10. They have like 2 good wins. They're like, yeah, we play in the SEC. It's so hard. SEC's having a down year. They've got like one real title contender and a bunch of 5, 6, 7 seeds. So, yeah. Congrats to Lamar on being named second team All Big Ten. Let's move down to Bennett Sturts, the white boy from Drake and whatever D2 school he came from prior to that. This man's a baller. I mean, I watched him ball out against the Badgers. Let's just see some of these statistics. Like, golly. All right, we're just going to kind of skim the points here. 25, 27, 27, 20, 32. This dude's not scoring below 10, really. He has one game below 10 all season, and that was in a, Jesus Christ, blowout to Bucknell. So clearly he was not needed. But this man has consistently put the team on his back. Let's just check these assists. 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 6. Very solid assist games. I was expecting a little bit more because he's the team and the point guard. And I've seen him spray to shooters like nobody else. But it's very impressive for him and Ben McCollum to come over to the Big Ten Conference and for him to, prove to the high majors that, he's a good player. This guy's going to be drafted this year. If he goes out, I think he's a senior. I'm not sure, but it's one thing to be great in the mid majors. It's another thing to graduate to the high majors and be just as productive and carry your team to the NCAA tournament. Congratulations, Bennett Sturts. Moving down to Nick Martinelli. Probably not the senior season he wanted to have, but boy, did he ball out. 7th nationally with 22.7 a game. He's showing up on the boards. He's scoring at an efficient rate. Congrats to Nick Martinelli. It's too bad his team just kind of didn't have the horses to stay in it. But let's look at his man. Yeah, he's been here for a minute. I was gonna say look at his stats, but they're not showing up like the other ones were. Congratulations to Nick. Glenview, Illinois is super close to Northwestern, so he's a hometown kid too. So you gotta love that for him. I'm glad he's getting his flowers. Bruce Thornton, where are you, my man? Let's find him. Here he is. It looks like Ohio State is going to be dancing this year, which in the past, back in the day, I didn't love Ohio State, but I've really grown to appreciate Bruce Thornton and the makeup of this team, and even their coach, Jake Diebler. I think he's got a cool story coming out as the interim head coach under Chris Holtmann, and now becoming, his own coach. And still recruiting good players. They got players on this team, retaining some players as well. John Mobley, he's been injured all season, but he's a dog. He's been getting it done. And now that they have John Mobley back with Bruce Thornton, that's a incredible guard dynamic that could potentially win them a couple games in March. So congrats to Bruce and the career that he's had. He's a dog, and um, best of luck to him in the future. Nick Boyd, my guy. Uh, I think worthy of first team honors, but I am just happy that he didn't get snubbed. I think second team is probably a perfect place for him. 20.1 points a game. This man, for a point guard, is absolutely lighting it up. Yes, he is left hand dominant. No, does not matter. He will score anyway. He's really developed a really nice flow. The last month or so, I think after that Michigan game, our teams really melded together, obviously. Um, and him and players like John Blackwell are playing really well. Another underrated guy um, that has not been getting any national recognition, even though he's our best shooter on the team. He dropped 32 points a couple games ago, 9 threes in that game, breaking the Badger record previously held by Bronson Koenig and Brad Davison. It's Braden Carrington, a senior. He started out at Minnesota, then transferred to Tulsa. Now he's back in the Big Ten. This man is an absolute dog. There it is, 32 points. Like, what's his field goal percentage this year? 42.7. Absolute dog. It's some game sealing free throws for us the other day. He's absolutely one of the biggest reasons that players like John Blackwell and Nick Boyd are getting the recognition that they deserve. It's because players like Braden Carrington and Alexis Biliauskas, Austin Rapp, other players on the Badgers, they've all brought their game up a notch, and it's making our stars shine even brighter. So let's get back to Nick Boyd. 3.7 boards as a 6'3" small guard, and he's that's a good number to have. And the 4 assists a game just speaks to his passing ability at the guard spot. He's really settled down. It's not always just chucking up a lefty layup always, and he's stopping in the paint and popping now. Or if it's not there, he's gonna spray it to Rapp or any of Carrington, all of our fabulous shooters that we have out on the outside. But yeah, I'm really loving John Blackwell and Nick Boyd as a duo. And it's sad to see Nick Boyd go after one season, but I'm going to enjoy the rest of his journey while we still have him. Third team All Big Ten, Morez Johnson Jr. This dude is only a sophomore. Holy shit. I remember him on Illinois last year. He was a dog, and then transfers to Michigan. I'm like, I recognize this guy. I have no idea who he is, but golly, he is a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if you saw him a Saturday or two ago. Absolutely demolish his old team in the Fighting Illini. He's super athletic, fun to watch, big presence on the inside, becoming a better shooter, but just like an absolute terror. I can't even imagine what the Badgers would be like if they had an athletic big like him. Congratulations, Morez. He absolutely deserves to be recognized for a tremendous season. And, he's I look at him and I look at Axel Lendeborg, very similar points per game. Morez is getting more boards. 64.3% field goal percentage. Like, Jesus Christ. Tied 11th, apparently, in college basketball. Yes, the assists are low, but um, one a game is still plenty good for me. So you stack him up against the Axel Lendeborg, and they're pretty similar. Um, so we got one being named Big Ten Player of the Year and one being on third team All Big Ten. Uh, this makes me a little bit fuzzy in the brain and wondering what the selection committee was thinking about that. But that just speaks to Morez and how good of a player he is and how many mouths there are to feed on Michigan and how many just incredible players that they have. I think there's more to get to on this third team All Big Ten. Moving down to, yes, Adai Mara, 11.3, 6 point. These guys just, how does everybody have 7+ rebounds a game? Jesus. And he has 67.3 field goal percentage, and I do not see a number under that. So I'm wondering if he has the best field goal percentage in all of college basketball. He's 7'3". Um, Dude's an absolute Chad. 11.3 boards a game, seven or points a game. He kind of just does it all and quietly. 2.4 assists is a pretty loud number from a center as well. So, man has showed the ability to pass, score, and rebound, and he'll be doing it at the next level. Tyler Bilodeau, quietly having a great senior season. I think UCLA has kind of been off the radar for a bit, but they are a tournament team with players like Tyler Bilodeau. I think Sky Clark is still on the team. And then, of course, Donovan Dent, who transferred over from the Mountain West. Tyler Bilodeau has been having great seasons year after year. 14.3 a couple years ago, 13.5, and 18 now. So you can see his progression, and this dude is got dangerous mid post game and pull up jumper. Like this guy has a wet ball. So props to Tyler Bilodeau with everything that's going on at UCLA. He's still getting it done, and he's getting the recognition too, which is very cool to see for him. Taking a look at Hannes Steinbach. He's a great. He could have been a freshman of the year. I mean, look at this guy. Talk about carrying a team. 18.6 points per game as a freshman. He averages a double double, 11.6 boards. Like, I guess it was between he and Keaton, but obviously Keaton's gonna take it over him. Congrats to Steinbach for an incredible season. If you're a Washington Huskies fan, you are praying that he stays on the roster, but I'm sure this dude could go pro after the season if he wanted. So, um, great looking stat line. I don't know too much about him. Haven't watched him play all that much. Like he's German. Um, yeah, I mean with that stat line, absolutely deserving of third team All Big Ten. And rounding out third team All Big Ten is John Blackwell. Third year as a Badger. Last year thought about going to the NBA. Talked to some guys about it. Figured he better come back for another season. So as a Badger fan, I'm super fortunate and happy that he made that decision. John's had a bit of an up and down season, as have the Badgers. Um, 18.3 points a game. He's gone up in each of his years. And another good point that I heard on a podcast about John Blackwell is he's been asked to do something different each year. The first year, he was definitely a defensive kind of guy, coming off the bench, shooting threes, slashing to the basket, making all the right small, tough, gritty plays. And then last year, he's asked to do a lot. We didn't have a true point guard on the team. Um, so they're asking a shooting guard essentially play point. Between him and John Tonje, it ended up being a pretty good match. But now he, in his third year in the same system but in a new position, I think he's really been able to excel as you see his numbers going up, um, in points, but not only points but also assists. Obviously, his boards are right in the same area, but John Blackwell is such an intricate part of this Badger basketball team. Um, and I love the spirit that he embodies with the team. Sometimes he can be questionable with his body language, after making a turnover or maybe not playing with his heart on his sleeve on the defensive end. But that's basketball. There's ebbs and flows, and I know that John Blackwell, when push comes to shove, is bleeding Badger red and absolutely loves this program and is giving everything that he has. So, congratulations to John. I know he's snubbed last year off of any team. He's honorable mention, so I think it's huge for him, and I hope he's happy that he was able to make the All Big Ten honors. He's improved a ton, and definitely a guard that you're going to be scared of coming into March. Moving down to honorable mention, I think a lot of these people definitely are deserving to be on uh, any of the three teams, but the Big Ten Conference is uh, incredible this season. So players like David Mirkovic, Jackson Kohler, Cade Tyson, Sam Hoiberg, Rank Mass, TKR of all people didn't make it, and Donovan Dent didn't make it. And Donovan Dent was probably Mountain West Player of the Year last year. So a lot of people that are incredible players not making the team just simply because there's not enough space. But David Mirkovic, he's a freshman, I believe. So I guess he would have gone up against Keaton Wagler for that freshman of the year. He definitely deserves praise. He's a great European player coming over and playing under Brad Underwood as he's been getting consistently year after year. I also just noticed neither of the Ivasic twins are being recognized, but they're obviously great players too. Jackson Kohler, great Michigan State Spartan. Cade Tyson carrying all of the load for Minnesota, and Minnesota stinks, so good on Cade Tyson. Sam Hoiberg, we touched on him a bit earlier. A great point guard, undersized, but the heart of a lion. He plays um, with his heart on his sleeve, and he's an incredible player and going to go down as one of the greats in that Nebraska program. Rank Mast, I thought he would be on a team for sure, but maybe he came out hot, or maybe I just thought too much of him. But nonetheless, he's an honorable mention for a reason. TKR, one of the best low post players in all of college basketball, um, also deserves honorable mention. I believe he was first team All Big Ten last year. I don't want to say he regressed necessarily, but something happened to leave him out. Um, Great player. Happy to get him out of the conference next year, though. Donovan Dent, interesting story. I think he would have thought himself that he would have had a better season. ESPN stats. Let's check it. Let's see how he did. Yeah, 13-6. That's a little lower than he probably would have liked. Let's check out last season if we can. Maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, 24-25. 13 points. Okay. We're having a hard time here, but nonetheless, Donovan Dent, great player still, filling up the stat line, especially with those 7.5 assists, um, and being that guy on the team. Vin Bilodeau really holding it down for UCLA as they try to muster up some spirit for the big dance, which I believe that they can do. All freshman team, quick whip around. Mirkovic, Wagler, Trey McKinney on Michigan. He's quietly had, maybe not quietly, but comes off the bench. He's had a great season. Braden Frager, uh, touched on him earlier, and Steinbach as well. So freshman team is loaded. Shout out to Alexis Biliaskis for maybe being in the mix for being all Big Ten freshman team, but he's quietly also had a very good season and improved a ton for the Badger basketball team. All defensive team, Kylan Boswell, no brainer. Morris Johnson, no brainer. Got two more Michigan Wolverines in Yaxel and Nadai Mara on it. And then Sam Hoiberg. Dude's got dude's got a motor. Um, I mean, I can't say I've seen every Nebraska game this year, so I'm a little surprised to see him on here, but I know this dude competes. And he's sticking his nose in everything. You can believe that. Uh, Great all defensive team. This would be quite the roster if it was a team. And then take a second yourself, pause the video if you'd like. Check out all of these guys. For the sportsmanship honorees, I see Isaac Guard sneaking in there for the Badgers, and a lot of other great players that deserve to be recognized. Will Cheddar, Jake Davis, Bobby Durkin, Carson Cooper, to name a few. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Um, don't take me too seriously. I'm just a Wisconsin Badger fan for life. So my opinion is a tad bit biased. I don't think I disagreed too much with the honorees. But yeah, congrats to all the players, and it's been an awesome Big Ten season. I'm excited to see what happens in this tournament. Hope everybody stays healthy, and best of luck to all the big teams this March, because once our Big Ten tournament's over, I'm repping all the Big Ten teams. But yeah, on Wisconsin, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Quick thing I forgot to mention, Nolan Winter is an absolutely incredible do-it-all player for the Badgers. 13.3 points per game, 8.6 boards, and 56.9% from the field, as well as an assist and a half a game. I don't know where the Badgers would be without Nolan Winter. He's an incredible player, and he definitely deserves, maybe not any of the All Big Ten teams, but he's definitely worthy of honorable mention. So, congrats on a great season for Nolan Winter. He embodies what is best about being a Badger. Bye for now.